Welcome back. We are just going to do a sound test while I wait for my page to load. Testing, testing. I cannot find what I'm looking for. Okay, here we go. Testing, testing, testing. Ooh, that has a lot of interference and stuff in it. Give me a bit. I don't know how to fix this. Testing, testing, testing. Maybe if I just turn this up. That might help. Testing, testing, testing. Once more. Okay. I think now. No, I'm not ready to start yet. Let's try bringing this up a bit more. Okay. Now I think I'm ready. Close on, a hand gently and reverently removes debris from the base and form of a statue. The statue of Gilliran's hands are folded before her, and her head is hooded. Aragorn stands back and gazes into her sad face. She wanted to protect her children. She thought that in Rivendell you would be safe. Elrond approaches Aragorn. Aragorn pays little attention to Elrond. He caresses the face of his mother's statue. Elrond approaches from behind Aragorn. In her heart, your mother knew you'd be hunted all your life, that you'd never escape your fate. The skill of the elves can reforge the sword of kings, but only you have the power to wield it. Aragorn turns to him. I do not want that power. I have never wanted it. But you are the last of that bloodline. There is no other. Aragorn stands silently and continues looking upon the statue. Close on, an old sword sliding out of a shabby leather scabbard. Its polished, well-tendered blade glitters cold and bright. My old sword, Sting. Here, take it. Bilbo offers Sting to Frodo. It's so light. Yes, yes. Made by the elves, you know. The blade glows blue when orcs are close, and it's times like that, my lad, when you have to be extra careful. Bilbo unwraps a small shirt of close woven mail. Here's a pretty thing, mithril, as light as a feather and as hard as dragon scales. Let me see you put it on. Come on. Frodo peels off his shirt, revealing the ring on the chain around his neck. Oh, my old ring. I should very much like to hold it again. One last time. Bilbo reaches forward, eyes locked on the ring. Suddenly, a shadow passes across Bilbo. For a split second, he becomes a wrinkled creature with a hungry face and bony, groping hands. Frodo pulls away, shocked. The shadow passes. Bilbo slumps into a chair, his head in his hands. Bilbo falters, his eyes filling with tears. Oh, I'm so sorry I brought this upon you, my boy. I'm sorry that you must carry this burden. I'm sorry for everything. Bilbo sobs and Frodo moves to comfort him. Elrond and Frodo walk towards the rest of the Fellowship, waiting at the gate of Rivendell. The time has come for the ring to set out. You cannot count on your journey being aided by war or force. You will pass into the domain of the enemy far from aid. Do you still hold to your word, Frodo, that you will be the ring bearer? I do. I must. I will go with Sam. Then I cannot help you much, not even with counsel. I can foresee very little of your road, and how your task is to be achieved. Mountains and draws nigh, even to the borders of the grey flood, and under the shadow all is dark to me. You will meet many foes, some open and some disguised, and you may find friends upon your way when you least look for it. I will send out messages such as I can contrive to those whom I know in the wide world, but so perilous have the lands now become that some may well miscarry or come no quicker than you yourself. Had I, had I a host of elves in armor of the elder days, had I a host of elves in armor of the elder days, it would avail little save to arouse the power of Mordor. Are you confident in your companions? Yes, Lord Elrond, I must be. I'm afraid, for if I doubt them, we may never succeed. I'm afraid, for if I doubt them, we may never succeed. And what of your hobbit friends? I had hoped to send them back to the Shire as messengers to warn the people of the impending danger. According to the fashion of your country, I feel that the youngest Peregrine Took should not go with you. My heart is against it. His heart is set upon going. There will be no stopping him, even if you did not send him home. Even if you did send him home in a sack. Let it be so then. The fellowship awaits. Give me one moment. I forgot I had something on the stove. And I am back. Wide on, Elrond and Frodo turn a corner and descend to the fellowship, now waiting by the gate. Angle on. Frodo joins the fellowship, ready to depart. They are set to go on foot with only Sam's pony Bill to carry much of their baggage. Elrond stands with the elves, addressing their only hope of success. The ring-bearer is set out on the quest of Mount Doom. On you who travel with him, no oath nor bond is laid to go further than you will. Farewell. Hold to your purpose. May the blessing of elves and men and all free folk go with you. The fellowship awaits the ring-bearer. Frodo slowly turns to the fellowship and timidly makes his way to the head of the group. The faces of those who vowed to follow him watch as he makes his way to lead the fellowship. Frodo leads the fellowship out of Rivendell. He turns to Gandalf. Mordor, Gandalf. Is it left or right? Gandalf continues looking ahead. Left. Gandalf places his hand on Frodo's left shoulder. The fellowship follows Frodo into the Middle-earth. Aragorn turns to bid a silent farewell. Arwen stands in a group of elves watching him. He nods to her and follows the fellowship out. The fellowship climbs the long, steep path out of the cloven vale of Rivendell. The fellowship trekking through the land of deep valleys and turbulent water, The misty mountains rise sharply to their left. We must hold to this course west of the misty mountains for 40 days. If our luck holds, the gap of Rohan will still be open to us. From there, our road turns east to Mordor. Close on, Sam at the campfire, the sound of clashing swords. Aragorn and Boromir are giving Pippin sword tuition. Get away from the blade, Pippin, on your toes. Good, very good. I want you to react, not think. Shouldn't be too hard. Move your feet. Quite good, Pippin. Thanks. Close on, Gimli has managed to corner Gandalf. If anyone were to ask for my opinion, which I note they have not, I would say we are taking the long way around. Gandalf, we can pass through the mines of Moria. My cousin Balin would give us a royal welcome. Gandalf clearly thinks it's a bad idea. No, Gimli, I would not take the road through Moria. That's what I said earlier, Moria? No, Gimli, I would not take the road through Moria. Sierra, what are you doing? Okay, you might hear extra noise this time.
Alright, and I've still finished in the time that I wanted to, so I'll shower.
No, Gimli, I would not take the road through Moria unless I had no other choice. Good. Now it's gonna come out wrong. Have a great day.
Torment, I tell you!
Boromir thrusts, catching Pippin on the hand. Pippin throws down his sword, kicks and lunges at Boromir, tackling him on the ground. Much laughter. Legolas's eyes are fixed on the distant dark patch, which darts around in the sky, like flying smoke in the wind. What is that? Nothing, just a wisp of cloud. It's moving faster against the wind. Crevain from Dunlin! Hide! Merry, Pippin, Sam, take cover! The fellowship scramble under what little cover there is in the as a regiment of large crows fly overhead at great speed, wheeling and circling above. As the dark shadow passes over the fellowship, a single harsh croak is heard, and the crows suddenly wheel away, back towards the south. Gandalf staggers to his feet. Spies of Saruman, the passage south is being watched. Gandalf looks at Aragorn, turns to the others, and gestures towards a high mountain pass. We must take the pass of Caradhras. The fellowship clamber through rock and snow. Frodo slips on some shale as he scrambles to his feet. The ring falls on the ground. The ring gleaming in the snow, Boromir's hand picks it up by the chain. He stands, the ring dangling before his eyes. He seems to grow in stature, as if absorbing its power. Aragorn warily approaches Boromir. Boromir is motionless. He stares at the ring as if transfixed. Boromir? It is a strange fate that we should suffer so much fear and doubt over so small a thing, such a little thing. Boromir, give the ring to Frodo. Aragorn's hand moves to his sword hilt, looking at Boromir's face. A strange hum vibrates. A weird, beatific smile lights up on Boromir's face. The hum grows to a deafening roar. Boromir suddenly snaps out of his trance and hands the ring to Frodo. As you wish, I care not. Boromir smiles at Frodo, ruffling his hair. Aragorn unhands his sword. Following the crows as they race deeper and deeper, passing a vista of industry, hundreds of orcs and writhing breath sacks flying past Saruman, who stands upon a wooden gantry. Saruman, listening to the cries of the crows. So, Gandalf, you try to lead them over Caradhras. And if that fails, where then? Words. So, Gandalf, you try to lead them over Caradhras. And if that fails, where then will you go? The Fellowship struggles through the snow on Caradhras. If the mountain defeats you, will you risk a more dangerous road? The Fellowship are struggling through the blinding blizzard up towards the pass of Caradhras. Legolas, the elf, moves lightly across the top of on the snow. He suddenly pauses. Saruman's voice sweeps by on the wind. Wake up, cruel red horn. May your horn be bloodstained. There is a fell voice on the air. It's Saruman. Thunder rumbles. Rock and shale fall from above. He's trying to bring the mountain down. He's trying to bring down the mountain. Gandalf, we must turn back. No! Gandalf raises his staff. He chants to the wind. Sleep, Caradhras. Be still. Lie still. Hold your wrath. The camera sweeps past Saruman. He stands on the pinnacle of Orthanc, chanting. Wake up, cruel red horn. May your blood-stained horn fall upon enemy heads. Clouds are flowing from all directions, converging on the distant mountains in a stormy maelstrom. Saruman's voice strengthens, rolling past the Fellowship like thunder. A lightning crack explodes on the mountainside above them. Frodo looks up in horror as a huge snow avalanche thunders down towards them. Legolas pulls Gandalf to safety. Aragorn shields Frodo and Sam as snow piles around them. Within moments, the pass is blocked, and the Fellowship are enveloped in snow. Boromir and Aragorn frantically dig for the hobbits, who are pulled out shivering and fearful. We must get off the mountain, make for the Gap of Rohan, and take the west road to my city. The Gap of Rohan takes us too close to Isengard. We cannot pass over a mountain. Let us go under it. Let us go through the mines of Moria. Gandalf has a concerned look on his face. Moria, you fear to go into those mines, don't you? The dwarves delve too greedily and too deep. Saruman sits in Orthanc, revealing an ancient text of the book, showing the door to Moria. You know what they awoke in the darkness of Khazad-dûm's shadow? Oh, you know what they awoke in the darkness of Khazad-dûm's shadow and flame? An image of a fearful creature wreathed in flame. Let the ring-bearer decide. Close on, Frodo, the weight of the decision weighing heavily upon him. Merry and Pippin shivering in Boromir's arms. Frodo, we will go through the mines. So be it. The Fellowship makes their way in the shadow of the ruins of the great aqueduct in the mist and ice of the mountains. Gandalf beckons to Frodo. Frodo, come and help an old man. Frodo comes forward and allows Gandalf to lean on him. How is your shoulder? Better than it was? Gandalf stops. And the ring, you feel its power growing, don't you? I felt it too. You must be careful now. Evil will be drawn to you from outside the fellowship, and I fear from within. Who then do I trust? You must trust yourself. Trust your own strengths. What do you mean? There are many powers in this world, for good and for evil. Some are greater than I am, and against some I have not yet been tested. Gimli comes to the top of the path and looks in wonder. The walls of Moria. The fellowship stands before a looming cliff cut into a sheer formation. Footing is treacherous on the narrow strips of green and greasy stones. Gimli taps the wall with his axe, listening. Gandalf does the same with his staff. Dwarf doors are invisible when closed. Yes, Gimli, their own masters cannot find them if their secrets are forgotten. Why doesn't that surprise me? Gimli sniffs with disgust at the comment. Gandalf approaches the smooth rock wall between two twisted, gnarled trees. Slowly, faint lines appear like slender veins of luminous silver running through the stone. Isilden. It mirrors only starlight and moonlight. A large moon rises over the mountains. The lines on the wall grow broader and clearer, forming a glowing arch of interlacing ancient letters and symbols. It reads, "The door of Durin, Lord of Moria. Speak free and enter." What do you suppose that means? It's simple. If you are a friend, you speak the password and the doors will open. Gandalf raises his arms. Gate of the Elves, open now for me. The cliff towers into the night. The wind blows cold. Frodo shivers and the door stands fast. Undaunted, Gandalf raises his arms again. Doorway of the doorway of the dwarf folk. Listen to the word of my tongue. Pippin, nothing's happening. Gandalf glances at him, annoyed. He begins to push on the doors, but they remain fast. I once knew every spell of all the tongues of elves, men, and orcs. What are you going to do then? Knock your head against these doors, Peregrine Took. And if that does not shatter them, and I am allowed a little peace from foolish questions, I will try to find the opening words. Gandalf continues, mumbling spells in his efforts to open the door. Ando elada inwa alakasta. Nope. Alashta quentania fenda casarina. Sam packs pots and pans at his feet, watching sadly as Aragorn unsaddles Bill the pony. Aragorn whispers to Bill the pony. Mines are no place for a pony, even one so brave as Bill. Bye, Bill. Go on, Bill. Go on. Don't worry. Sam, he knows his way home. Aragorn slaps Bill on the rump, and Bill goes trotting off. Sam watches Bill disappear into the darkness. Splash! Merry and Pippin are tossing stones into the lake. Black rippling rings slowly fan out. Pippin is about to throw another stone, but Aragorn grabs his arm. Do not disturb the water. Aragorn watches anxiously as the ripples appear to grow. He exchanges a look with Boromir. Aragorn's hand creeps towards his sword. Gandalf gives up in despair. He sits down beside Frodo. Frodo peers at the Elvish inscription. His face breaks into a smile of comprehension. It's a riddle. Gandalf raises his eyebrows. Speak, friend, and enter. What's the Elvish word for friend? Gandalf. Oh, melon? With that, the rock face slightly divides in the middle and two great doors swing outward, revealing a blackness deeper than night. As the fellowship enter the blackness, something in the water stirs. The fellowship step warily into the darkness of Moria, a dank cavern with winding steps leading deeper into the mountain. Soon, Master Elf, you will enjoy the fabled hospitality of the dwarves. Roaring fires, malt beer, red meat off the bone. This, my friend, is the home of my cousin Balin, and they call this a mine. A mine. Angle on. A glow from Gandalf's staff suddenly lights the chamber. The fellowship recoils in horror. Many dwarf skeletons are strewn about, clearly in the dead of some old battle. The rusting armor and shields are peppered with arrows and axes. This is no mine. It's a tomb. Oh, no, no, no! Legolas pulls a crude arrow out of his skeleton. Goblins! The fellowship draws swords and back away towards the entrance. We make for the gap of Rohan. We should never have come here. Frodo is suddenly pulled to the ground. A long, sinuous tentacle is wrapped around Frodo's ankle and is dragging him towards the lake. Frodo cries out as Aragorn and Boromir rush forward. Aragorn severs the tentacle holding Frodo and pulls him to safety. Boromir hacks at the other writhing limbs. 20 more tentacles ripped out. Nope. 20 more tentacles ripple out of the lake. The dark water boils as the hideous beast lashes about at the fellowship. Again, the creature grabs Frodo and pulls him to the lake. Frodo is flung in the air as the fellowship battle the creature. Aragorn hacks at the tentacle. Frodo is released, falling into Boromir's arms. Into the mines! Legolas! Legolas shoots an arrow into the creature's head, gaining a few vital seconds for Aragorn and Boromir as they race out of the water with Frodo. The fellowship hurriedly back away from the creature, retreating into the Moria chambers as many coiling arms seize the large doors. With a shattering echo, the creature rips the doors away, creating a rock slide that crashes down the cliff face. Within seconds, tons of rocks seal the doorway, throwing the fellowship into pitch blackness. A faint light rises from Gandalf's staff, throwing a creepy glow across the old wizard's face. Now we have but one choice. We must face the long dark of Moria. Beyond your guard, there are older and fouler things than orcs in the deep places of the world. Wide on, the fellowship crossing a precarious bridge above deep mine workings. Quietly now, it's a 4-day journey to the other side. Let us hope that our presence will go unnoticed. The fellowship enter a chamber with old ropes and ancient ladders. Gandalf touches a shining substance on the wall. The wealth of Moria was not in gold or jewels, but mithril. Gandalf holds his staff over the expansive drop beside them. The fellowship looks down. The endless depth of the mind. The mind? Have I been saying mind this whole time? The endless depth of the mind. A faint blue glow issues from its depths. It looks all but abandoned. The fellowship continues onward. Bilbo had a shirt of mithril rings that Thorin gave him. Ooh, that was a kingly gift. Yes, I never told him, but its worth was greater than the value of the Shire. Frodo's eyes widen. They continue up a steep stair, passing through a dwarf cemetery. The graves were despoiled. Dwarf skeletons are strewn about, and goblin graffiti is scrawled onto monuments in dried dwarf blood. The atmosphere is very sinister. The path splits into 3 passages, each disappearing into a dark tunnel. Gandalf pauses, frowning. I have no memory of this place. The Fellowship are nervously waiting while Gandalf sits, staring intently at the 3 tunnel mouths in front of him. He appears to be in some kind of trance. Frodo turns to the sound of a faint noise on the tunnel behind them. Are we lost? No, I don't think we are. Shh, Gandalf's thinking. Murray. What? I'm hungry. A sudden glimpse of a creature darting in the darkness. Frodo is nervous. He approaches Gandalf. There's something down there. It's Gollum. Gollum? He's been following us for 3 days. He escaped from the dungeons of Barad-dûr? Escaped, or was set loose. Now the ring has drawn him here. He will never be rid of his need for it. He hates and loves the ring, as he hates and loves himself. Smeagol's life is a sad story. Yes, Smeagol, he was once called, before the ring came to him, before it drove him mad. Gollum's withered fingers are gripping the cave wall, his large luminous eyes blinking with malice. It's a pity Bilbo didn't kill him when he had the chance. Pity? It was pity that stayed Bilbo's hand. Pity? It was pity that stayed Bilbo's hand. Many that lived deserve death, and some that died deserve life. Can you give it to them, Frodo? Do not be too eager to deal out death and judgment. Even the very wise cannot see all ends. My heart tells me that Gollum has some part to play yet, for good or ill, before this is over. The pity of Bilbo may rule the fate of many. I wish the ring had never come to me. I wish none of this had happened. So do all who live to see such times. But that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what is to do with the time that is given to us. There are other forces at work in this world, Frodo, besides the will of evil. Bilbo was meant to find the ring, in which case you also were meant to have it. And that is an encouraging thought. Ah, it's that way. Gandalf points at the right-hand tunnel. The Fellowship scramble their feet. He's remembered! No, but the air doesn't smell so foul down here. If in doubt, Meriadoc, always follow your nose. Yes. The Fellowship pass under an arched doorway into a black and empty space. Gandalf pauses. Let me risk a little more light. Gandalf taps his staff for a brief moment. A light blazes like a silent flash of lightning. Great shadows spring up and flee. Behold, the great realm and dwarf city, Dwarodef. Frodo gasps at the bright sight of a roof far above their heads, upheld by many mighty pillars of stone. Before them stretches a huge empty hall with black walls, polished and smooth as glass. Well, there's an eye-opener and no mistake. Ahead of them, a wooden door has been smashed. Black arrows are embedded in the timbers. 2 goblin skeletons lie in the doorway. Gimli rushes ahead. Gimli! Gimli rushes into another vast empty chamber, lit with a narrow shaft of sunlight beaming in from a small hole near the roof. Dwarf and goblin skeletons are piled high. In the far corner sits a stone-walled well. A shaft of light falls directly onto a stone table in the middle of the room. A single oblong block, about 4 feet high, topped with a great slab of white stone. Gimli falls to his knees. No, no. Oh, no, Gimli sobs. Gimli quietly reads the inscription of runes carved into the white stone slab. Here lies Balin, son of Fundin, lord of Moria. He is dead, then. It's as I feared. Gimli chants and sobs. Gandalf carefully lifts the rotting remains of a book from the white stone slab. It has been slashed and stabbed and appears to be covered in dried blood. The pages crack and break as he opens it. We must move on. We cannot linger. They have all taken the bridge and the second hall. We have barred the gates, but cannot hold them for long. The ground shakes, drums in the deep. We cannot get out. A shadow moves in the dark. Will no one come save us? They are coming. Unnerved, Pippin backs away nervously. He stumbles against the well, sending a precariously balanced armored skeleton tumbling in. Merry reaches out, grabbing hold of Pippin before he falls. The fellowship freezes in stunned silence as the armored skeleton clatters down the deep well, echoing loudly. Gandalf turns angrily on Pippin. Fool of a took! Throw yourself in next time and rid us of your stupidity. Pippin chastised. They fall silent. A loud rolling boom rises from the depths below, growing louder. Boom, boom, as the caverns of Moria were turned into a vast drum. A great horn blasts nearby. Answering horns, running feet, crash. Answering horns, running feet, harsh cries. Sam's eyes glance at Frodo's belt. Mr. Frodo. Frodo looks down. A cold blue glow is emanating from Sting's scabbard. Frodo draws the sword and stares at its glowing blade. Orcs! Get back and stay close to Gandalf. Aragorn and Boromir slam and wedge the doors. Boromir catches sight of something. He turns to Aragorn with shock in his eyes. They have a cave troll! Gimli snatches up 2 rusty dwarf axes and leaps onto the tomb. Let him come. There is one dwarf yet in Moria who still draws breath. Boom. The door bursts open in a tomb of wood fragments, and 20 goblins charge into the tomb, followed by a huge cave troll. Gimli ducks below and immediately buries his axes on 2 goblin helmets. Aragorn and Boromir wade into the massive goblins with their swords. Legolas fires deadly arrows into goblins' throats, desperately trying to shield the hobbits. Gandalf is clutching his sword, Glamdring, and joins in the battle. The cave troll is sweeping his club at Aragorn, who stumbles backwards. The huge club descends for a killing blow. Suddenly, in a flash of steel, Boromir's long sword slices into a scaly... Suddenly, in a flash of steel, Boromir's long sword slices into the scaly arm of a troll. It rears back, spewing green blood. Sam is backed up against the wall, a sword in one hand, a saucepan in the other. In desperation, he swings wildly at a goblin with the saucepan. It keels over. Sam looks surprised. He wallows another goblin on it, and it too drops. I think I'm getting the hang of this. The cave troll lunges forward, thrusting at Frodo just with his spear. Aragorn! Aragorn! Sam screams as Frodo is lifted off his feet by the spear tip and slammed against the wall. Frodo! The hobbits go crazy. Sam slashes at the cave troll's knee, bringing him down. Merry and Pippin jump on him. Legolas fires an arrow and the cave troll topples. Dead. Aragorn rushes to Frodo's side as he slumps to the floor. Frodo appears to be dead. Gandalf, Aragorn, and the hobbits look horrified. Suddenly, Frodo coughs and takes a huge breath. He's alive. I'm all right. I'm not hurt. You should be dead. That spear would have skewered a wild boar. I think there's more to this hobbit than meets the eye. Frodo opens his shirt to reveal the mithril vest. The troll spear did not pierce the mithril. Mithril? You are full of surprises, Master Baggins. Boom, boom, boom. The sound of the drums ring out again. Gandalf turns to the other. To the bridge of Khazad-dûm. Gandalf leads the fellowship into the huge Dwarrodelf chamber. This way! They hurry towards a distant door as goblins start scuttling around the pillars behind them like cockroaches. Frodo looks with horror at the overwhelming goblin army that's rushing toward them. Suddenly, a deafening roar fills the air. A fiery light dances down the hallway, the pillars casting eerie shadows. The goblins freeze. They back fearfully away from the approaching beast, melting into the darkness. What is this new devilry? A huge shadow, surrounded by flame, falls across the hall. The ground shakes. An unearthly sound rumbles. A Balrog, a demon of the ancient world. This foe is beyond any of you. Run, quickly! The Balrog, a massive creature, rises from the chasm. A great 40-foot man-beast with a mane of flames. In one hand is a blade, like a stabbing tongue of fire. In the other is a whip of many thongs. Aragorn leads the fellowship to the top of a dizzying stairway. Gandalf follows, leaning heavily on his staff. Aragorn looks at Gandalf, concerned. Lead them on, Aragorn. The bridge is near. Aragorn hesitates. Gandalf looks at him. Do as I say. Swords are no more use here. The fellowship race down the stairway. Aragorn picks up Frodo, leaping across a gaping chasm. Gandalf yells to the others. Aragorn makes to throw Gimli across the chasm. Nobody tosses a dwarf. The Balrog smashes through the wall. It spreads its vast wings. It swoops down past the fellowship, disappearing into a flaming pit. The fellowship run into the second hall. The floor is split with fissures that spit fire. Over the bridge! Fly! They race towards the slender bridge of stone without curb or rail at the far end of the hall. They race towards the slender bridge of stone without curb or rail at the far end of the hall. The fellowship recklessly hurry over the dizzying bridge, but Gandalf, the last, pauses in the middle of the span. He faces the Balrog, staff in one hand, Glamdring in the other. Frodo looks back in horror. You cannot pass! Gandalf! I am a servant of the secret fire wielder of the flame of Anor. The dark fire will not avail you, flame of Undone. Frodo watches as the Balrog puts one foot on the bridge and draws up to full height, wings spreading from wall to wall. Gandalf is a tiny figure, balanced precariously on the narrow bridge. Go back to the shadow! The Balrog slashes at Gandalf with his sword of flame. Gandalf blocks with Glamdring. A ringing clash, and the Balrog's sword shatters to molten fragments. You shall not pass! The Balrog places one foot onto the bridge. He cannot stand alone. Elendil, I am with you, Gandalf. Boromir raises his sword. Gondor! Angle on. Aragorn and Boromir race forward, swords drawn. Gandalf cries aloud as he summons his last reserves of strength. He thumps the bridge with his staff. A blinding sheet of white flame springs up. The staff shatters. The bridge breaks right at the Balrog's feet. The stone bridge drops away into the gulf from under the Balrog. For a moment, the great beast remains poised in the air as it plunges down. Relief floods Frodo's face. Gandalf remains trembling on the lip of the broken bridge. As the Balrog falls, he lashes out with his whip of fire. The thongs of the whip lash and curl around Gandalf's knees, dragging him over the brink. Gandalf just manages to hang on by his fingertips. Gandalf! Fly, you fools! Gandalf lets go his grip and falls away, following the Balrog into the bottomless abyss. Frodo cries out. Boromir scoops him up and carries him away. No! Gandalf! They rush away towards an archway.